The Great Flood represents the exact moment a human heart is stripped of everything it thought would save it. It is an anatomy of total loss. Psychology identifies a specific error in our design called the illusion of control. We are built to over-attribute power to the things we depend on: a hoarded sum of money, a status symbol, a carefully laid plan. We treat these tokens as armor, trusting them to exert influence over crises they cannot possibly affect. Verse 25 of Sūrat Nuh captures the moment this illusion breaks. As the water rises, the text notes a single crushing moral fact. The people reached for the idols they were commanded never to abandon, and found the idols simply weren't there. To the heedless, this sudden absence of helpers is pure terror. But Sufi mystics identify this state as faqr, or blessed poverty, the deliberate letting go of every earthly support until only the true helper remains. In this view, the water that drowns the ego is the same water the seeker uses for purification. This creates a profound tension for the man on the ark. After 1,000 years of being mocked and refused, Noah watches the water finally come for his abusers. We expect a human to gloat or to shrink into a bitter silence. Instead, he demonstrates that hitting absolute rock bottom is often the only mechanism powerful enough to force the realization that there was only ever one who could hold the soul. Before the water recedes, Noah speaks a severe prayer. In verses 26 and 27, he asks his Lord to leave not a single denier walking the earth. At first glance, this sounds like the outburst of a frustrated man finally reaching his breaking point. Teachers note Noah's reasoning: these people will only beget the corrupt. He prayed to protect unborn grandchildren from this poison. Modern science agrees. Trauma cascades down family lines, predicting negative outcomes decades later unless an intervention interrupts the flow. In the very same breath as this severe judgment, Noah turns. Verse 28 begins a request for sweeping mercy for himself, his parents, and every believer who would ever live. Noah's harshness acted as a boundary for the future. By asking to stop the cycle of harm, he cleared the emotional ground for his final, widening act of grace. Sufi mystics viewed the specific order of this final prayer as the literal geometry of a purified heart, a series of concentric circles opening outward. The sequence starts with the self: forgive me. Then it reaches backward to honor his parents. It expands again to his household. Finally, the circle pushes to his absolute limit, asking mercy for all believing men and women across human history. This structure mirrors the psychological metric of moral expansiveness. Research indicates people who deliberately widen their circle of concern, moving from the self to the stranger, experience higher levels of life satisfaction and social connection. The very act of praying for the unknown other remakes the one who prays. After 1,000 years of grief, Noah's heart did not shrink, it enlarged. He ended his mission not with a verdict on his enemies, but with a blessing for people he would never meet. The Arabic text contains a quiet arithmetic where every letter holds a numerical value. At the close of the surah, these numbers arrive at a point of resonance. The Arabic word mu'min, or believer, mathematically reduces to the number 2. Throughout this series, the number 2 has represented the between, the axis where the caller stands to face the 1. By sharing this specific number, the text suggests that every believer takes up the prophet's own position. To enter the house as a believer is to become a small Noah, standing in that same space of surrender. You can practice this expansion yourself. For 7 nights, end your day with a widening wish. Begin with yourself. The next night, your parents. Then your household. Push the circle 1 ring further each night until it includes strangers and those not yet born. Consider whether your final motion in any conflict is a settling of scores or a far-reaching blessing. We are defined not by the floods we endure, but by the breadth of the mercy we leave behind when the water finally recedes.